Every time I get a new first-time home buyer come to me about getting ready to buy a home, they always say something like, "Hey Rose, I just want to start thinking about what we need to do to buy a home. I'm not sure if we're in a position to now or anytime soon, but we just want to know where to start and how to get ready for it." I think a lot of buyers don't think they can qualify to buy a house, so they either don't even try to or even plan for it because they feel like it's such a big and scary process. Hey, I'm Rose Gonzalez with the Gonzalez Real Estate Team, and my goal is to give you as much information on the home buying process so that when you're ready to make that move, you know what to expect and that you're prepared so that home buying can be a great experience for you and your family. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of how to buy a house step by step. Step number 1, get connected with a professional. I would recommend connecting with the realtor and the lender to get started. If you know someone, great. You can always ask family and friends who may recently have purchased a home for a referral to a realtor or lender that they use. If you connect with a realtor first, they can usually help introduce you to a few lenders that they've worked with and vice versa. If you get connected to a lender first, they can introduce you to a few realtors that they've worked with as well. A lot of times, realtors and lenders have preferred partners with whom they have a working relationship with, but of course you can use whoever you want. You want to make sure you pick someone that you feel comfortable with and that you connect with. Step number 2. It's really important to determine how much you qualify for. You don't want to go looking at homes for $800,000 and fall in love with a house and then find out that you qualify for only $700,000. What you will want to do is connect with a lender. The lender will ask you how much money you make, what your credit score is, what type of debt you have, like car payments, credit cards, student loans. They'll ask you how much money you have in the bank and if you have any retirement or stock accounts. Based on this information, they'll give you what they call a pre-qualification letter. You can then go out and look at homes based on the purchase price that they give you. But I always recommend that you get a pre-approval, which is the next step further because there's certain guidelines that lenders have to use in order to actually be able to give you a loan. One example is if you make $80,000 a year, but you get $5,000 of bonus. If you haven't been receiving that bonus for 2 years, they can only use the $75,000 to qualify you. Also, the credit score on different websites like your credit card website or Experian.com can be very different and may not be the same numbers as what the lenders use. The lenders will need to run their own credit report. When you're buying a home, they'll look at 3 of the credit bureaus, which is Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. What they do is they take the middle score of the 3 bureaus, and that's how they determine your score. Also, as far as credit, they need at least 3 trade lines. What that means is that they need 3 items on your credit report to show that you've been able to borrow money and pay it back. Those would be like 3 credit cards or a combination of credit cards and a car payment or even a student loan. There are a few ways you can build your credit rating if you don't have 3 items on your credit report. Your lender can walk you through more about that. The lender will have you fill out a loan application. They'll also need 1 month's pay stub, 2 months bank statements, 2 years tax returns, your most current retirement or stock statements. But make sure you watch the lender will collect all of your documents along with your loan application and then the credit report. They will package it and give it to the underwriter. The underwriter will take a deep dive into all the documents and make sure that your income is calculated appropriately based on their guidelines, and they will determine if you qualify and how much you qualify for. Once the underwriter gives you the okay, then the lender will come back and let you know, and you'll have a pre-approval. They'll provide you with a pre-approval letter that you can then send to your realtor. One thing I want to bring up is that even if you qualify for a $1 million loan, I want you to decide what monthly payment you're comfortable with and whether that monthly payment includes taxes and insurance. Because you can surely qualify for a $1 million home, but if you can't afford the $5,000 or $6,000 mortgage payment for that purchase price, that doesn't do you any good. You need to make sure you decide what mortgage payment you're comfortable with. Once you figure that out, you then need to tell the lender how much money you want to stay within, and they can backtrack and tell you based on the monthly payments you're comfortable with what your final purchase price would be. Now, you probably heard me say mortgage payments, whether that includes taxes and insurance. A mortgage payment can be done in two ways. You can pay your mortgage payment and interest to the bank and then pay property taxes 2 times a year and homeowners insurance once a year. Or you can do it all together as a mortgage payment, and they call this PITI. That's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Or they also call it an impound account. Basically, you pay the mortgage company the PITI amount, and they are responsible for paying your property taxes 2 times a year and annually for insurance. I find a lot of people like this better because they can just forget about the property taxes and insurance. But then I also have some clients who like to do this on their own because they know that they can set aside money and earn higher interest in other investments. Okay, so now you're pre-approved. Now it's time to go home shopping. You will now, if you haven't already, need to connect with a realtor. You guys will need to talk about all the things that you want in a home. There should be a list of things that are negotiable and non-negotiable. So let's say, for example, you have a family of 5 and you absolutely need a minimum of 4 bedrooms because you all need your space. This would be a non-negotiable item. And then if you prefer a 3-bathroom, but 2 bathrooms could be okay, this would be a negotiable item. That's not a deal breaker. I always recommend also driving around different neighborhoods to get to know which areas you like and don't like. So once you tell your realtor what you're looking for, they can start you on an email drip. All realtors in the area share a system called the MLS. Anytime someone has a home to sell, we all put it in the same database, and those get syndicated or pushed out to Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, and all those websites. So we all have the same access to the same information. When a new home goes on the market that matches what you're looking for, you will find it in your email inbox the next morning. When prices change or a home that had a buyer but fell out of contract and came back on the market, you'll also have that in your inbox as well. You can definitely search on Zillow or Redfin too, but this just gives you a heads up on current updates and changes to some of the homes that are currently already on the market. Now that you're all set up with an email drip and know how to look for homes, if you find something that catches your eyes, go out and see it. A lot of times the pictures look great, but then you get to the home and the layout may be different and it's not exactly what you're looking for. You can either schedule a private tour with your realtor or go check out open houses on the weekends. Either way works out. Let's say you find a house that you just love and you want to buy it. You'll want to work with your realtor about putting in an offer on that home. They will see if there are any disclosures and reports on that home, and you'll also want to know what's selling in the neighborhood so that you can see what offer price to make on the home. Your realtor should be able to guide you through this process. Once you write the offer, your realtor you're working with should be talking to the seller's realtor and negotiating the best terms for you. I always advise the lender to also call the seller's agent and talk to them about your pre-approval. It just makes it a stronger offer when they know that the professionals you're working with are on top of their stuff. Once you get your offer accepted, you will then need to go through what we call an escrow process. This usually takes as quickly as 21 days to 45 days, depending on how quickly your lender can close. Your realtor and the lender will determine this together before they write the offer. Within 3 days of your offer getting accepted, you will need to make sure you send your earnest money deposit to the escrow company. The earnest money deposit is a good faith to the seller saying that you're serious about buying a home, and you will want to make sure you go over earnest deposit, what it's for, and how contingencies protect your deposit with your realtor. You'll probably have to update documents with your lender to make sure that your pay stubs and bank statements are all up to date. Make sure you're in communication with them. They will let you know what they need. You should get those documents to them as soon as possible. The lender will also order a home appraisal. This is a third party who comes out to the property to determine if the home is worth the amount you're buying it for. If it does not appraise for the purchase price, you and your realtor will need to put together a game plan and either renegotiate with the sellers or figure out if you want to pay for the difference or back out of the contract. One thing to note is that the lender will not lend on a property say you put in an offer for 800,000 and it only appraises at 750, the lender is only going to use the 750 price. Now, you'll also want to order home, termite, or roof inspections with your inspection contingency period. And if there are any repairs, you can work with your realtor on negotiating with the seller if there's any work that needs to be done. You'll also want to look at all the disclosures the sellers provide, the preliminary title report, and all the documents you're signing to make sure that you understand. Contingencies and their timelines are very, very important in protecting your earnest money deposit. So make sure to talk to your realtor and have them walk you through what this means. You can also watch my video on contingencies explained so that you can understand it as well. Once you do all of your inspections and appraisals, you will then need to get ready to close on your new home. The lender will do a final approval, and once they get this final approval, they will send your closing documents to the escrow company. The escrow company will then send a notary to help you sign your closing documents. You will then also need to give escrow your closing funds, which is your down payment and closing costs. Now remember, your earnest money deposit goes towards this balance. After you've signed, within a couple days, you should get confirmation that you have closed. I know this sounds like a lot, and it really is. But again, the more educated you are on the process and how it works, the easier and smoother the transaction will be. I have broken up this process in a few different videos that can really help you understand this whole process, so make sure to go through our playlist and watch the videos. I'll put the links in the description below. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about the home buying process, please feel free to reach out and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Again, you can find realtors and lenders through referrals from family or friends. But if you need help with this, I have partners from all over the United States that I know and trust and would be happy to introduce you to these amazing partners. And last but not least, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please give a little love to that subscribe button and we'll catch you on the next video. Realtor and start the negotiating process. No. Once you that you can make sure